Welcome to today's deep dive into our source material. We are about to completely flip the script on how you think about money, intelligence, and, well, luck. For the longest time, we've all been taught that financial success is just this big math test, right? A pure numbers game where the smartest people with the absolute biggest brains win. But what if the entire foundation of how we view wealth is completely backward? Today, we're exploring exactly why emotions drive financial success, and we're going to uncover the timeless psychological principles that actually dictate who gets wealthy and, more importantly, who stays wealthy.
So let's dive right into this. Does your income determine your wealth? Most of us would instantly say, well, yeah, of course it does. But reality tells a drastically different story. Out in the real world, some of the absolute smartest, highest-earning people, we're talking doctors, lawyers, corporate execs bringing in millions, literally end up going completely broke. Meanwhile, you've got real-world cases like Ronald Read. He was an ordinary janitor and a gas station attendant, and he quietly became a multimillionaire by the time he died. How is that even possible? The difference between the broke high earner and the millionaire janitor is not their IQ. It isn't just blind luck either. It is entirely about psychology.
Imagine two totally different people. Person A is pulling in $20,000 every single month, but they spend all of it. Person B is earning just $3,000 a month, but they're consistently saving and investing a portion of it. Now, society conditions us to look at the person with the massive income, the one driving the expensive cars, flashing the luxury watches, wearing the designer clothes, and we think, wow, they are incredibly wealthy. But flashing those luxury items doesn't show wealth at all. It literally only shows spending. That high-income spender is just running on a high-speed treadmill, whereas the person quietly saving, they're the one actually building a financial fortress.
And this brings us to a really crucial definition we all need to get straight right now. Income is simply what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. The richest-looking person in the room is actually rarely the wealthiest person in the room, because real wealth is fundamentally invisible. It's the money sitting quietly in investment accounts. It's the emergency fund that nobody else sees. It's the freedom to wake up and just choose how you want to spend your time today. Simply put, wealth is the money you haven't spent.
Section 1. The Emotion Engine. Why money is pure emotion.
To really understand this, we need to stop staring at spreadsheets and start looking in the mirror. We are moving into the engine that actually drives your financial life, your emotions. The biggest false belief out there is that money is just mathematics. In reality, your financial life is a deeply emotional landscape. It is honestly shocking how small the logic and math slice of our decision-making actually is. It's just a tiny sliver. The rest of it, it's dominated by these massive slices of fear, greed, pride, envy, and hope. Two people can sit down with a financial advisor, get the exact same logical investment advice, and get wildly different results. Why? Because one person panics and sells everything when the market drops out of pure fear, while the other holds steady. Your financial future doesn't depend on predicting the markets. It depends entirely on controlling these dominating emotions.
Section 2. The Psychology of Patience.
Conquering those emotions is exactly what's required for our next hurdle. If fear and greed are the loudest emotions, boredom is easily the quietest and honestly the most dangerous one. Let's trace this timeline of compounding because it perfectly illustrates the emotional challenge of investing. At year 1, you're making small monthly investments, and absolutely nothing exciting happens. It's so boring, you might even feel like you're just wasting your time. But if you have the emotional discipline to wait until year 15, your money starts earning returns, and those returns start earning their own returns. Then by year 30, you experience this sudden, accelerated, massive growth. The secret of the wealthiest people isn't that they found some magical secret stock. The secret is just that they mastered their emotions enough to stay invested long enough for the math to do its job.
So the crucial point here is this. Time is the greatest investor, not intelligence. I really want that realization to sink in for a second. You do not need a PhD in finance to build life-changing wealth. Patience and time will always beat raw brain power in the market. A brilliant investor who lacks patience is going to lose to an average investor who has mastered it every single time.
Section 3. Stop comparing yourself. Now, mastering patience is incredibly difficult when we're constantly distracted by what everyone else is doing. We live in this era where the emotion of envy is completely weaponized. We scroll through our phones and just see a constant barrage of luxury vacations, massive houses, and brand new cars. But here is what social media never shows you behind those perfectly curated lifestyles. The hidden loans, the deep, crushing stress of keeping up appearances, the sleepless nights worrying about debt. Constantly comparing yourself destroys financial happiness. The people you're envying might actually be completely miserable behind closed doors, trapped by the invisible costs of looking rich.
This leads us right to an inescapable truth. True wealth begins when you stop trying to impress strangers. Think about it. If you're constantly comparing yourself to others, your definition of enough is just going to keep moving. You hit a milestone, you look around, you see someone with more, and suddenly your big achievement feels completely worthless. If that goalpost keeps moving, you will never actually feel rich, no matter how much money is sitting in your bank account.
Section 4. The price of volatility. Overcoming envy allows you to finally focus on your own journey. But listen, your financial journey is not going to be a straight line. We have to address the reality of market crashes, which brilliantly illustrates the mindset shift required to actually survive the markets. Amateurs view market volatility, like when your portfolio drops by 10 or 20%, as a total disaster. It immediately triggers their fear response. They panic and they sell at the absolute bottom. But wealthy individuals reframe this completely. They view volatility as a fee. Think of it kind of like buying a house. You don't complain about paying the mortgage because you know it's just the cost of owning the home, right? In investing, market declines are simply the unavoidable emotional price of admission for long-term growth. It's a fee, not a fine.
Section 5. Build a margin of safety. Let's see how this builds into a really actionable strategy. If we know that volatility and bad times are guaranteed fees we have to pay, how do we survive them without losing our minds? Well, life is completely unpredictable. Jobs disappear, businesses fail, global emergencies happen out of nowhere. The most successful people understand this, so they purposefully leave a ton of room for mistakes. They build pillars of safety. First, a robust emergency savings account. Second, proper insurance. And third, broadly diversified investments. They aren't walking a financial tightrope where one strong gust of wind ruins them. They're building a wide, sturdy bridge.
I absolutely love this quote from our source material. They don't prepare because disaster is certain. They prepare because uncertainty is guaranteed. Building this safety net isn't about being a pessimist. It is literally emotional insurance. Having cash in the bank means that when the stock market crashes or the economy takes a massive hit, your emotions stay level. You don't panic because you know you're safe.
Section 6. Buying your own freedom.
So once you actually have that safety, what is all this money even for? If it's not for buying luxury cars to impress strangers on the internet, what is the point? Well, this is where we redefine the ultimate ROI of your money. Most people fundamentally misunderstand money. They think money exists to buy things. Actually, money exists to buy choices. It buys you the freedom to walk away from a terrible boss or a toxic work environment. It buys you the freedom to stay home and spend time with your family whenever you want to. It buys you the freedom to put your head on your pillow at night and just sleep peacefully. Financial independence isn't about things. It is entirely about gaining absolute control over your own time and your own life.
As we bring all these concepts together, we can finally strip away all those intimidating, highly mathematical myths of investing that hold so many people back. You don't need perfect timing, you don't need extraordinary intelligence, and you certainly don't need a crystal ball to predict the future of the economy. All of that is just noise.
The real toolkit for wealth is surprisingly simple, yet it's incredibly difficult to practice. It consists of just these 4 psychological traits. Patience, to let compounding do its work. Consistency, to keep saving even when it's super boring. Humility, to accept you can't time the market and to finally stop comparing yourself to others. And emotional discipline, to treat market crashes as a fee rather than a total disaster. These 4 traits are genuinely all that is required to build generational, life-changing wealth.
Which brings us to the final core philosophy of this entire breakdown. The greatest investment you'll ever make is mastering your own behavior. It all starts and ends with you. You can have the best financial models in the entire world, but if you can't master your fear, your greed, and your ego, all the math in the world isn't going to save you.
I want to leave you with this final really provocative thought. Every single day, with every paycheck you receive, you are making a choice. You are either choosing to fuel the illusion of wealth to impress people you don't even know, or you are choosing to buy your own future freedom. So ask yourself today, will you spend your life building visible spending or invisible wealth? The choice is entirely in your mind.